Hello everybody and welcome to episode 73 of Shelf Review, where today we'll be going over chapter 2 of Haunted Peak. Now, this chapter of the manga starts off where it left off, obviously, last chapter, and we see as they're kind of discussing recording the man, and Momiji mentions how she is scared, so she turns around to flee, but she twists her ankle, because they attempted to flee because it appeared that the man there had noticed them. So, she twists her ankle, and now they must carry her down the mountain. Now, at first, we see as Miko offers to carry her, but then he kind of reads the room, and he's like, oh no, Roka should carry her instead. And so, we see as Roka now has the offer, but Roka is like, no, I can't, because I have loafers, and I'm already not used to this terrain, so I think Miko should carry her. And so, Miko's ultimately left with carrying her, so we see as where Roka says, if you're worried about him touching your upper womanhood, is what I'll say, then you should put the backpack between you. And Roka's like, yeah, I got gloves too, so I won't even have to touch you. I don't know what to think. Not Roka, but Miko. Miko's like, yeah, I got gloves too, so I won't have to touch you. Yeah, I don't know what to think of Miko right now, but it gets worse. So they ultimately end up walking down the mountain like that. And we see as ultimately Miko's returned, so she's left to go, and she ultimately apologizes to like this grown-up for ultimately going up there in her uniform, because she was like, no, I asked Miko to take me up there. So she ends up leaving. Then we see as Roka and Miko and exchange some brief words, and we see as Roka's like, yo, Miko's kind of voicing how he didn't mean to like seem weird there or something, and Roka's like, yeah, she's kind of discussing how he feels about about Miko, and also prior to this, while they're hiking down the hill, Momiji had mentioned how she wondered how Roka truly felt about her, because he wouldn't carry her. Then we see as they get down the hill that Roka's kind of voicing about how she's kind of really self-absorbed, and how though a character at the school calls her the princess of the school, she sees herself more as the queen. So a higher level of self-importance. So Roka can't really stand that self-importance. And Miko's like, what? No, man, if y'all broke up, yeah, like the school would be absolutely messed up, because y'all are like the most stable relationship there. And we obviously see that Roka does not want to be in this relationship. And I honestly believe it maybe because, I mean, he's a bro to Miko, because he didn't really want to get into the relationship to begin with. So he's just kind of faking his way through it. And he knows that Miko had feelings for Momiji in elementary school. So he's like, maybe he's not wanting to step on his homie's turf or something like that. And that's why he's just not into it. And I just don't believe he really likes Momiji either. But after this, we see as Roka goes away, and Miko takes out the gloves that he had been holding Momiji on his back on, specifically around her hindquarters, and just sniffs. Well, he doesn't sniff, but he puts them up to his face, so we can presume that bro is getting a crazy whiff. Now, are we for real here? I might give this manga a little bit longer, but what are we doing, Miko? Buddy, what are we doing? This is supposed to be a story about the Haunted Peak, guys, not you sniffing. I didn't like that. I did not like that Miko did that. Miko, Roka's not my favorite character, because Miko, he lost points there, drastic points. But then we see as him and Momiji are walking to school together the next day. They're just kind of discussing, and they're just kind of briefly talking, and then also previously, while Roka and I glanced over this, but while Roka and Miko were talking before he ended up doing the sniffing chicanery, Roka asked if Miko was serious about filming this guy, and Miko was like, yeah, I don't want this possibly criminal or creep to take my family land. So they kind of talk about that briefly, and Roka's like, yeah, I believe it's like his ex-brother-in-law. He said he was going to talk with him and possibly see who the man was via purchases and like actual like documents, because that dude who he talked about was in the Forest Association and could have access to the records. So then the next day, we see as Miko and Momiji are walking their way to school, and we see as they talk briefly. And Miko asks if Momiji wants to go back up there and actually get records of the character today, or the individual up there with the leaf on his face. And he's like, now that you know the correct train you can be on, you can change your clothes, and we can go back up there and try it again. And she's like, no, I wouldn't want to go up there because I was genuinely scared. And he's like, well, I can protect you. And she's like, why would I want to go up there just to be protected by you? And like, there's these weird intermittent panels, especially in this chapter, where we see like what appears to be Momiji, like, gazing at Miko throughout these, like, conversations, stuff like that, which I don't know if that's supposed to be an insinuation or anything. I wouldn't presume it was, because Miko's just straight up weird, but, yeah, so we see ultimately as she goes off with her friends, walks off, and then we see the chapter end with Miko kind of watching them. So, this chapter honestly just had me a little confused. I'm ready to see more about the actual Peak stuff, because I could have done without learning this stuff about Miko. I didn't want to see him be an actual, like, perv like that. I mean, yeah, that's perverted. There's no way to defend that. Sniffing gloves that were on a woman's hinder quarters is not a normal thing to do. But, yeah, I mean, he might have just been sniffing because it had her scent on it, but I don't know about that, pal. That might be giving him too much credence there. But, yeah, so that's all there really was for Chapter 2 of Haunted Peak. Like I said, this chapter was weird. I want to see more of Roka because he does have me intrigued as a character, and I want to see more of the Man on the Peak, so I hope we get that next chapter, which I believe we will, because Miko is not going to back down and allow this man to take what his family was supposed to give him and keep. So yeah, like I said, that's all there really was for Chapter 2 of Haunted Peak. We'll have another chapter next week, and I'll be waiting to read that. I think I'm going to give this at least 5 chapters. That's what I usually do with manga, to see if they're good or not. Most of the time I end up sticking with them. So hopefully, Haunted Peak, I mean, it grabbed me with the first chapter, so I believe I'll stay with it probably for at least a little bit longer than 5 chapters, but that 5 chapter, like, period is how long I usually give for it to get good. But, yeah, that's all there is for it, and that's all I really have for episode 73 of Show Review, so thank you very much for watching.